Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Corner, or welcome if you're new. Either way, make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, if you're not a subscriber, so you don't miss any of my great horror movie content coming out both in this series and beyond. But today, of course, we're going to take a look at another 1981 horror movie. This is one that I streamed on YouTube, not one that I have in my collection. And as it turns out, it doesn't look like it will be for two reasons. One, it actually doesn't have a DVD or Blu-ray release or any kind of release other than a VHS back in the day. And two, I really have no interest in needing to own this movie. So the movie I'm talking about today is a slasher from 1981 movie, or is a slasher from 1981. A year that had many slashers, of course. This is a lesser known one, and for good reason. And that movie is Home Sweet Home, also known as Slasher in the House. So, like a lot of these movies, it was a first time watch for me. Didn't know anything about it, but I saw it was set on Thanksgiving, so I had my expectations higher than they should have been. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So, Home Sweet Home, also known as Slasher in the House, is a 1981 American slasher film directed by Nettie Pena and written by Thomas Bush. It stars Jake Stenfield, Peter DePaula, and Vanessa Shaw in her film debut, and the plot focuses on a PCP-addicted killer who terrorizes a family in their remote home on Thanksgiving, along with Blood Rage and the Fox Thanksgiving trailer from Grindhouse, which would later be fully adapted as Thanksgiving. It is one of the few slasher films centered on the Thanksgiving holiday and one of the few to be directed by a woman. So basically, the movie opens a parked motorist is strangled by an escaped mental patient, Jay Jones, a PCP addict who was institutionalized after bludgeoning his parents. Jay carjacks his victim and runs down an old woman while driving through Los Angeles. On the outskirts of the city, 9 people have gathered to celebrate Thanksgiving at the ranch of Harold Bradley. Among the revelers are Harold's girlfriend Linda, his tenant Scott and his girlfriend Jennifer, Linda's friend Gail, Harold's business associate Wayne and his girlfriend Maria, Harold's son Mistake. That's right, that's his name, Mistake. And it was a mistake to have him in this movie. A Kiss Army soldier, that's what he is, and Harold's younger daughter, Angel. As there is no wine in the house, Linda and Gail borrow Scott's car to go and get some while Jay cuts off the house's power. Harold turns on the emergency generator, leaves to get more gasoline for it, and happens upon Jay's abandoned station wagon. As Harold tries to take the battery out of the car, Jay body splashes the hood down on him, crushing his skull. So yeah, that's to set up the premise, the beginning of Home Sweet Home from 1981, the American slasher. As far as the cast goes, we have Jake Stenfield as Jay Jones, Vanessa Shaw as Angel Bradley, Peter DePaula as Mistake Bradley, Dom Edmonds as Harold Bradley, Charles Hoyes as Wayne, David Milky as Scott, Leah Nairn as Gail, Lisa Rodriguez as Maria, and Colette Trieg as Jennifer. So yeah, that's to set up the premise and the cast for the low-budget, crappy-ass slasher movie from 1981, Home Sweet Home. This movie sucks, man. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. You know, I always try to find the good in movies, even the lower budget ones that I haven't seen before. But my God, this movie's got a lot of problems, man. Let's just go ahead and get into it, starting with the few good pros, the few good things that I can say about this movie, and I had to stretch a bit. It's one of the few Thanksgiving, as it mentioned, it's one of the few Thanksgiving slasher horror movies that exist, especially at the time that it was made here. So it's cool to have this set on a holiday that's not often utilized. It's getting utilized a little bit more now. Obviously, the most recent example being Eli Roth's Thanksgiving from a couple years ago. And then you have Blood Rage, which I believe came out about 5 or 6 years after this movie. Let me know if I think there's other ones. Thanksgiving, I think, is one. I'm sure there's a few other ones, but for the most part, there's not a lot of Thanksgiving horror or slasher movies, so it's got that going for it. It's interesting that this is Vanessa Shaw's first film. Of course, Vanessa Shaw, I know her best from the first Hocus Pocus movie in 1993, and probably is, for horror fans, better known from the remake of The Hills Have Eyes. and she's been in a lot of other stuff too, but she's only like 4 or 5 in this movie, so that was kind of interesting that this was her film debut. She plays a very young girl, like she is 4 or 5. I found the score and the music to be basically typical slasher, but I thought it was effective for the most part. It has sort of that pulse racing, heart stomping beat and tone to it that I liked more than I didn't. That's you can tell I'm scraping a little bit here. I kind of like the beginning of the movie with the guy with the stranded motor sitting in his car, and then how we're introduced to our villain or killer. I thought that was sort of a quick way to jump right into things and kind of let you know what kind of movie this was going to be. Even though the acting's pretty over the top, but still, I thought that was an effective way to sort of start the movie in kind of a cheesy 80s way. The killer, while not having much of a unique look to him, other than having a big physique, is very diabolical and intimidating with his overall physique, his muscular structure, and his trademark is really his maniacal laughter that he has throughout the movie. It's played up really over the top by Jake Stenfield, but I'm sure that's what they asked for. But it's kind of in a fun, cheesy 80s sort of way, so I could kind of enjoy that for what it was, even though it wasn't good in terms of acting or writing, or even as a, obviously he's not a killer that's going to be up there with Jason or Michael, but again, I'm scraping. In fact, with this last pro that I'm going to give you, you'll know that I'm really scraping the bottom of the barrel. There's one shot of a breast or a boob, whichever you'd like, early on in the film, so a little bit of nudity in this movie, but I believe that was the only shot. So usually I don't bring up nudity, but for a slasher movie, I got nothing else good to say about this movie. So let's get on to the bulk of this review, which is the cons or the things wrong with this movie. It's a very low-budget, stock slasher movie without anything unique or new, other than the fact that it is one of the few set on Thanksgiving, as I said. But there's not really enough story or writing here to fill the runtime allotted in any kind of an efficient, executed manner. I mean, the movie's only 83 minutes long, and frankly, I think it should have been like 59 minutes long. I think this could have been an hour or less movie, maybe even a short story or a short film, something like that, given what they actually had in this movie. One of the big problems with this movie is you can't see anything. The second half of the movie it's really hard to see because it takes place at night and it's shot at night and it's not shot all that well at night. So everything's very dark and low picture quality. I was trying to adjust my screen size from full screen to theater screen to default screen to see if that would help, and it really didn't. Everything's black, and then occasionally you'll see like the outline of somebody's head come into the little bit of light that's there. It's terrible. I mean, it was just terrible. Like I said, the second half of the movie, I couldn't see anything that was going on, and so all I could hear was like screams, and you'd see somebody fall over dead, and it's like, well, I guess that was a kill. I didn't see anything, but okay. So that's obviously a big problem in this movie, and as I said earlier, there's not a DVD or a Blu-ray release for it, so I had to watch it on YouTube. And it sounds like that's really the only place you can watch it, unless it's on another streaming service. But I doubt the quality. There's no transfer, so the quality's not going to be any better, unless for some reason somebody decides to really try to clean this movie up and put it on Blu-ray. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think there's enough interest in that. The characters here are very generic and incredibly stupid in their decision making, even for an 80s slasher movie. Which I know you'll say, well, a lot of the characters' decision making is bad in slasher movies. That's part of why it's a slasher movie, and that's true. And I can get behind some of that, but my God, in this movie it was exceptionally terrible. I didn't care about any of the characters at all, live or die. I really don't care. Just end the movie. That was kind of my thoughts about it. But yeah, they're like the movie. It's a stock slasher. They're stock characters. They bring nothing to the table, nothing for me to care about. The kills, well, there are many. They either can't be seen because of the bad picture quality, being cutaways, or just not being that well done in terms of having any gore or special effects done here. You see a little bit of blood on a windshield and on the killer's face at the end, and I mean even that isn't all that convincing, but there's really nothing here as far as the kills go. The pacing is way off, especially with the third act, which feels much longer than the first two acts combined. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that it is basically shot in the dark and you can't see anything. The movie tries to inject humor through this one lame character of Mistake. That's his actual name, Mistake. Mistake Bradley. That's what he is. As I said, it was a mistake putting him in this movie, and even more of a mistake having him try to be a comedy relief character. He's like a guitarist Kiss wannabe. He's got the face paint and all that. He was just annoying and just lame for me. Yeah, I didn't care about him, and I was more annoyed by him. And this movie overall was just a time checker movie for me. It was a movie I was constantly checking my phone to see what time it is, if the 83 minutes were up yet, or how close I was to being done. And it's just a boring slasher movie for the most part, without any standout kills or standout filmmaking or characters or anything. So, like I said, it's set on Thanksgiving as a slasher movie. That's the one unique aspect it has going for it. And the killer, while being very over the top, is very maniacal and intimidating and creepy with his laugh. But again, it's in a cheesy 80s way. So this is not a good slasher movie. I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, it's on YouTube, so you're not spending any money. If you really want to kill 93 minutes, you can check it out on YouTube. But I'm going to give this movie a 5 out of 10. I feel like I'm even being generous with that. But there were a few things that I liked, as I mentioned. So 5 out of 10 for Home Sweet Home from 1981, the slasher movie. Go ahead and comment down below what you guys think of this movie. Am I off my rocker? Is it better than I think? Is it about the same or worse? Comment down below. Please like this video. Hit the little notification bell. And as I mentioned earlier, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, so you don't miss great horror content. So with that being said, sorry I didn't have a more positive movie review here, but that's part of what we get when we're reviewing so many movies. There's going to be a few duds in there. But with that being said, I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for watching this review. Hope you're enjoying this series. And as always, stay scared. Bye.